So once you've finished your mold and it's been cleaned and prepped, you're going to take your 1/8 inch aluminum wire. I'm using Arcor aluminum wire here. And you're going to line the wire with the pattern and you're going to do two pieces. You're going to clip off some of the ends and make sure that it fits securely. And then you're going to tape the two halves together like you did in the first tutorial about how to make an armature. Next, you're going to take your 2-part epoxy putty. I'm using fast steel here. And you're going to place it in the hip joint. And I actually make it so that I have a grab point in the actual pattern itself, the armature. I lay this in the mold, make sure that it fits, and I leave it for about 10-15 minutes. Come back, it should be set. And then I make loops of the feet, and I clip any excess off. And I'll squeeze them together to make them a tighter loop. Make sure that my bolts will fit in there as well. And then I position them perfectly inside the mold. Then I'm going to take a tube of aluminum and slide it over my 1/8 of an inch Arcor aluminum wire and position it so that way it's perfectly positioned in the head cavity of the body. Then I'm going to tap it like I did for my other pieces in my prior tutorial for how to make an armature. And then I'm going to add some super glue just to that particular aluminum tube, and then I'm going to slide a pre-drilled wood ball over top of this and let this sit and dry for a while. This is going to act as the grab point for the head and the core of the head of the puppet. Then I'm going to take some putty and I'm going to apply it to both ends of the holes where the wire sticks out of the wood and leave it to sit as well. I'm going to add a loop to the base once it's dried and then place that on top of the armature and make sure it fits perfectly. Next, I'm going to take some putty again and apply it to the loop section and the body section. Let that dry and then add super glue to the feet. Take my nut and apply that on top of the loop of the wire and let that dry. Then once again take some putty and you're going to roll it in the palm of your hand to make a little length there, and you're going to wrap that around the bolt of the foot and you apply it to overlap the top and overlap the bottom of these bolts, and do it to both bolts on both feet like you did in the prior tutorial as well. Then you take aluminum tubing and you measure it and you cut it. Apply it to the arms, and basically this is the same procedure that you did with making an armature for a sculpture, but the difference is you're not using copper or brass, you're using aluminum on all the pieces, and the reason for that is because copper and brass will actually distort and destroy your latex when you're casting it. Now I take my thin wire and I do my fingers in a very similar, identical way that I did in the first tutorial. Really, if you follow the first tutorial, the only difference that you're going to see is the head structure of this puppet latex build. Make my hands in a similar manner as well. I'm going to twist all 4 wires that I have made for each hand, so I should have a total of 8 wires making 2 hands, 4 fingers each. I position that in there, measure it, clip off the excess. I'm going to tap my arms and my my aluminum tubing together, stick my epoxy inside the tube at the other end, and then stick my little hand arm joint in there. Let that dry and then add some super glue and let that dry as well. The design of your armature is super important, and you need to make sure that you do it proper. You can get away with a lot during your sculpting phase, but your foam latex casting phase, you need to be pretty on it. And you need to make sure that you do things proper, just so that way your foam latex puppet doesn't break while you're working with it. Now next I take some more epoxy putty, and I'll make little dots, and I'm going to apply it to the palms of the hands. And this makes sure that your fingers don't flail out when you're animating, and make sure that they stay in the right position while you're casting them in foam latex. You then position the whole thing inside the mold, and you put the two halves together to make sure that it fits properly. This is really, really important. If you get your foam latex armature made properly, you should have no problems during your casting phase. If you do have some problems here and there, you can always slice open your foam latex puppet a little bit and adjust and glue it back together with some Prozade. Overall, this is a very simple design. There are lots of deviations of other designs that you could possibly do. You could do banded wire, you could do ball and socket armatures, but I prefer wire because it's fun, cheap, and easy, and I can make a ton of puppets very fast. With that said, please feel free to check out our next tutorial, which is the foam latex puppet making process, and feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel along with going to www.stopmotionmagazine.com and subscribing to our magazine, and maybe throw us $1 million or something so we can make a movie. That'd be nice. Wouldn't that be nice? I think that'd be nice. Anyway, thank you, and we'll see you soon.